A confusing morning for passengers at Omaha's Eppley Airfield today. A security threat prompted an evacuation for anyone that hadn't made it through security. Good evening, I'm Brian Mastery.
And I'm Jacqueline Fernandez. First Alert 6 Sydney Babb walks us through what happened.
Omaha Airport Authority was notified about that security threat at about 8:20 this morning, and at that point they evacuated everyone who was here in the pre-security portion of the terminal outside. It did take about an hour for airport security, OPD, and the FBI to sweep the building, make sure everything was okay and safe for people to come back inside. And at that point, I did get the chance to speak to a few of the people who were a part of that group that was initially evacuated, and they told me the entire situation was just confusing.
Just kind of mass confusion. A lot of people stayed calm and listened to everybody.
While trying to get to Miami from Omaha, Kevin Hallam and his wife were evacuated from Eppley Airfield.
Police presence started to come in and talk about need to evacuate the building. A lot of people were confused.
People in the pre-security areas of the terminal were evacuated, but they weren't left to stand out in below freezing temperatures.
Escorted us to buses. The buses were confused at what was going on as well, but did get to warm, drove around for a little bit.
Two passengers from Iowa, also heading to Florida, shared they were first in line to check in before having to leave.
Airport security came up very nicely and told us to exit the building with our suitcases and evacuate.
Both Lenny and Kevin said the police and security's swift action and consideration made all the difference.
They did a great job. Yeah, very courteous. Everybody walked out very calmly, and they helped us load our luggage on the bus, and yeah, it was very smooth.
I think with the bomb threat in Miami yesterday, I think in the back of people's heads that could have been something as well, and just what's going on in our country right now. I've traveled all over the country for many, many years. There's nowhere I'd want to fly out of than Omaha. Everybody's been wonderful this morning, and all the delays, helping each other. It's been great.
Now, as of Monday evening, Omaha Airport Authority has not confirmed specifically what that security threat was, but once people were able to be let back into the building, you can imagine with everyone coming back all at one time, the line for check-in, those lines were a little bit longer than normal. It was taking a little bit more time than it normally does, but as of this evening, you can see things have cleared up a bit. There's not too many people behind me here, and things seem to be running pretty smoothly. Live in Eppley Airfield, I'm Sydney Babb, First Alert 6.